Welcome to the Prosperity Playground, the podcast where business meets energetics, strategy meets soul, and prosperity becomes inevitable. I'm your host, Anna Lozano, mom, founder, investor, mentor, and energetics in business expert. This is your weekly activation to rewire how you think and feel about wealth, success, and personal power, because it's not about working harder, it's about regulating deeper, aligning stronger, and receiving wider. You don't hustle for your future, you calibrate to your higher self. Join me weekly for high-level conversations with the world's most inspiring entrepreneurs, creators, and thought leaders. True prosperity isn't just about money. It's about alignment, freedom, expansion, and embodying your worth. Welcome to the playground. Let's build your most prosperous life. Welcome back to the Prosperity Playground podcast. Today, I get to sit down with none other than Dr. Shefali, the New York Times bestselling author, Oprah-endorsed thought leader, and the pioneer of the conscious parenting movement. Dr. Shefali is a clinical psychologist and a three-time New York Times bestselling author, praised by Oprah as revolutionary. She leads the Conscious Parenting and Life Coaching Institute and has trained over 1,200 coaches worldwide. Through her books, podcasts, private sessions, and Conscious Circle community, she helps people live more awakened, authentic lives. Her work blends Eastern wisdom with Western psychology to inspire transformation in parenting, relationships, and self-growth. If you read The Conscious Parent or The Awakened Family, you already know the depth of her work. And in this episode, we go even deeper into parenting, self-growth, and the reality of raising children in today's world. In this convo, we specifically dive into parenthood as a mirror, the biggest struggles parents face today, and from Oprah's endorsement to a global conscious parenting movement. If this episode resonates with you and you feel called to bring conscious parenting and conscious living into your own work and your own brand and business, Dr. Shefali's Conscious Coaching Institute is now enrolling for cohort 13. This powerful certification blends Eastern spirituality and Western psychology into a 5-month journey of self-transformation and equips you to support others as a conscious coach. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leader, or a parent wanting to go deeper, this is a life-changing program and a life-changing opportunity. You'll find the link in the show notes to get more information. I really hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Dr. Shefali, welcome to the Prosperity Playground podcast. I'm so grateful to have you here with us today.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. So I first picked up your book, The Conscious Parent, when I was pregnant with my daughter, Maya. She's now 9. And truthfully, I thought I was going to, have the book, my 7 years of personal growth, and I was going to be super prepared for this parenting journey ahead. Now, boy, was I super wrong. You are the pioneer in the conscious parenting movement. So how do you define conscious parenting really as a life philosophy?
Well, the philosophy of conscious parenting is really about raising yourself and really using every relationship as a mirror to your own ego. And what is the ego? Your false self that you've created since childhood to cope with your insecurities, your sense of unworthiness. So every relationship becomes an echo and a mirror for you to grow and to dissolve that ego and understand yourself better. So conscious parenting is about parenting yourself. So you parent yourself in every relationship. So it's not just about raising your children. It's about really aligning and harmonizing yourself to the highest potential possible.
Yes, so beautiful. So where were you on your motherhood journey where this really clicked for you? Because we enter parenthood in a completely opposite philosophy, thinking, it is our role and responsibility to, yes, keep them safe, keep them healthy, provide shelter, but to parent them, to teach them. And what you're defining is opposite. And it's so beautiful and profound. So where were you on your own journey where this really clicked for you and then it turned into a movement?
Yeah, I think not unlike most parents who are probably listening, mothers especially. I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I was feeling intimidated by the job of raising a child. I didn't know. I was losing my mind. I was so burnt out. And I thought it would be so easy, and it was so incredibly difficult. I couldn't understand my child. I didn't know how to play with her. I was lonely. I was upset at my then husband. I felt really lonely. And that's when I hit a breaking point because I had only two choices. One is to keep yelling at her, keep changing her,
Yeah.
or I could look in the mirror and say, I obviously don't have the skills and strategies. Obviously, I don't know, and I have to become humble and I have to go
Yeah.
and learn. And I shouldn't look at this as a failure. I should look at this as an invitation. And so I went and I learned. And I developed this method called conscious parenting that I now teach everyone. I have a conscious parenting institute. And I
Yeah.
think every parent should come to a parent institute to learn. We think we should know it all, right? And then we have all this guilt and
Yeah.
this shame that we don't know how to parent. And no one ever taught us. But then we need to take it upon ourselves to do the most incredible job in the world, which is to parent ourselves. And then
Yeah.
as we parent ourselves, we actually become really better at parenting our children.
Yeah, and everyone always says, parenting doesn't come with a manual, although you have now written some manuals for us.
Right.
But it's, we go to school, we study to get these different skills for our careers. And yet, this is literally the most important role that we will ever have in our lifetime. And what you brought us to is it starts with us. It starts with our inner work. So, in your practice, what are you seeing as the common threads that parents are coming to you with? Because they're obviously coming blaming the child, and you reverse it then back to them. But what are you seeing right now, like 2025, 20, moving into 26 commonalities?
I see increased disconnection. I see fighting over screens. I see girls really lost in body dysmorphia, harming, cutting, comparing, feeling very lonely, feeling very much like they have to be perfect. And we thought we had to be perfect growing up. My goodness, the kids today feel it even more because they're constantly comparing themselves. And the standards have become so high, right? Before we had 5 friends to compare to. Now we have 5,000 friends, right? On Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And every one of these people are posting the best of their lives. And they are filtered and they are edited. And this, it's just so glamorized that now you begin to feel that you're up against this huge standard that is unattainable. So a lot of that in the girls. And I'm actually writing a book on boys and girls. And for the boys, I see that they are becoming more fragile. They are not taking risks. They're not going outside. They're not exploring. They're feeling like it's much more safe to just be in their basement playing video games. So they are retreating, and that is so unhealthy for them.
Yeah. And so for those listeners who, can't go to your clinic and start working with you, what are some things, some steps, practical ones that they can start implementing right now when they're witnessing this? And it's so painful to see. It's so painful to see your child suffering. So what do we do?
Well, number one, they're suffering because they are on the wrong media. They shouldn't be on social media at this age. And number
Yep.
two, they're suffering because they don't have enough of a connection with you. So one of the two things has to increase right now. Either you increase the limits on their social media or you increase the connection. And ideally, you do both. And you give them more playtime, more nature, more physical, more play with you, more bonding, more, doing real life things, cooking, gardening, running, walking. This virtual world is taking them away from the real world, and then they don't have the skills to manage the real world.
Yeah, it's so true. I looked far and wide to have nature-based, play-based schooling to really prolong the magic of childhood
Yes.
as long as possible. And I didn't find it in Canada. We actually do schooling in Mexico at a beautiful little Waldorf school. But I also witnessed, as a high-performing woman, as an entrepreneur, choosing presence with them has been the solution. And so, it's conscious choices that we have to make. And this summer, maybe my business wasn't producing as much as it could have, but I was fully present with the girls who are now 7 and 9. And for me, I realized, it took me years to say, like, this is the biggest investment that I'm ever going to make is our nucleus, our family, and everything extends out from there. So as an expert, what would you say in terms of technology? Like, yes, so even, my girl's going to a Waldorf school, no way in heck are they touching a phone and screens for a while, but everyone around them is. We were at the dentist yesterday. There was a 10-year-old on Instagram. And so ideal age, how long do we keep them off the screens?
As much as you humanly can, but definitely till 12 or 13, definitely. So I always say no screens till teens. And that is like basics now. And the research is out and it's clear, the evidence is speaking for itself that this is not good for our children. They are not ready to handle the algorithms and the constant dopamine hits, and it's actually toxic for them. So you've done the right thing by changing their environment, by putting them in a very controlled environment where you can control how much screen time they have, and building community, right? That's what you're doing. You're making sure you're with other parents who can create that containment so your child is not exposed to this and you have no control over it.
Yeah, it's having that like-minded community, because if you're the only, the
It's
solo
gonna be hard.
trooper in this, it's very hard. And yeah, that's really beautiful. And also having these conversations, talking to my girls about the screens and why we're choosing to keep them off. I think that's really important because, again, you see it all around you. And so supporting them to develop those critical thinking skills. Now, how have you seen this movement that you're leading shift from where it was at the beginning? What is your goal moving forward? What is your deepest desire, deepest intention with the work that you're doing into the future now? Because you've pioneered, you've done so much for the conscious parenting world and the parents that are choosing conscious parenting. Where are you moving to in the future with this?
Well, I think with any self entrepreneurship, you should, be as aligned to what is that?
We'll cut it off.
Yeah, let me see. Is it the pipes? One second.
Oh, Romania.
I think it's the pipes. So funny, no? Sorry. God. Okay, it's just the pipes. I don't know what it is. With any self entrepreneurship, I think we have to be in alignment with who we are. So I always check in with who I am and try to manifest a business that speaks to me. Because if it speaks to me, then I speak from the heart and I can connect to those who may be similar. And the next thing I do is I always test the market. So if I want to write a new book, I don't just go with what's true to me. That is level one, but then I create several options. And then I test the market to what is going on in context, because you want to be connected to your audience. So if your audience is not suffering in the way that you want to write a book, it's not going to match. You have to find something that they need that you can answer and solve. So I always look for a combination of where I'm going to be happy and served and feel fulfilled, and I'm meeting a need. And that's the ideal integration.
Yes. So you're working on raising conscious daughters and raising conscious boys. So tell us a little bit about that process. How did it drop in? How did you test the marketplace?
Yeah, I was actually writing another book on conscious relationships, and then I saw Adolescence on Netflix, and that really moved me. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to do a workshop for an hour on conscious sons. And that workshop blew up so much, and so many people bought it that I realized there's a real need. And then I did one for daughters, and that blew up. So I realized there's a real need. So I then wrote a book proposal, all within like 3 to 4 days, and sent it, and then got a contract. I mean, it was like so fast, but that it required me to pay attention to the context, the cultural context of adolescence, the movie, and then test the waters. I got a huge yes. Then I took a risk. And then I also abandoned the other book and pivoted. So all these elements go into, how do you listen to yourself? How do you align? How do you manifest? You have to be
Yes.
all of these things.
Yes. And this is exactly what this podcast is about. It's really like that soul and that strategy. We start with our inner world. And so, what are some practices that you do daily to cultivate that intuition, that inner knowing, that self trust? Already someone who holds deep, immense success in the world.
Yeah, it's that self trust. It's always tuning in and backing myself up, right? It's learning to tune in, but then you support yourself, right? We're always looking to others to support us, but how do we support ourselves? So if my body says I really need to rest, do I support myself as my best friend would, and do I go rest? If my body says I really need to, walk, do I support myself? So in the same way, I listen to what my body feels excited by, and then I support it. Oh, you really like this person. Do you want to go take a course with this person? Oh, you really like this place. Do you want to try to make a trip there for in the next 2 years? I will say yes to my body, my desire, so that I begin to develop that relationship where my body can speak and knows that it will be heard. And so I have that daily practice of always listening and backing myself up. I try to not do anything that doesn't come out of a flow state where it's a yes, 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 yes. And even if there's a slight no, I listen. It's not that I stop, but I listen. What is the no about? Is the no a real no? Is it a real boundary? Is it a real red flag? Or is it me being afraid? And I am constantly in a relationship with myself. And I'm coaching myself. I coach other people to become coaches for themselves first. First, we have to become coaches for ourselves. And imagine you are so trained that you can be your own best coach. Now you are your own self-fulfilling unit that is self-governing, that is self-actualizing, that is self-evolving.
Which is the purpose of life, is evolution,
Yes.
is our soul's evolution. So your daughter's now 22, and we spoke about parenting yourself first. Can you share with us maybe a season of motherhood that was especially challenging when you already knew this work? It was already in play. And how did you move through it? I really just want to dive into a little bit more examples of, where our audience can relate to and saying, okay, this is where I'm at right now. And then I'd also love for you to touch upon a little bit of yelling, because I see different cultures. I come from an Eastern European background, and, yelling's just what happened at home and around us, and it's just common. And so someone who decided, I'm never going to yell at my children, it's incredible how easy it is. Like, it's just a part of it's a programming. And so, yeah, let's dive a little bit into some examples of maybe someone, again, very knowledgeable already in your work, and yet you had to navigate something with your daughter specifically.
Yeah, I mean, knowledgeable doesn't mean you're not going to have to grow. Knowledgeable just means you know what's going on and how to grow. So, there was a big period in my life with my daughter where she was growing up. I had just gotten a divorce from her dad, a lot of guilt, a lot of, feelings of failure, that I'm failing her. Not so much that I failed my marriage, but that I failed her. And trying to compensate and overdoing it and burning out. So I went through a vicious cycle of too much guilt, too much burnout, too much resentment, and I had to get myself out of it. And I did that slowly through great self-compassion, understanding, dialogue, and making many mistakes. And now I think I'm in a better place. But all to say that it doesn't matter how much you've learned. You're going to face challenges that are going to rip you apart. And the point is not to avoid those challenges. The point is to really know how to seek help, how to get support, how to work on yourself so that you are not so bereft of options. You see, when you think that you should never make a mistake, now that's a big mistake, right? So I didn't have that expectation of myself. I wasn't surprised that I was messing up. I wasn't critical that I was so guilty and so nervous and so upset. I had great compassion, just like I teach parents to have compassion to their children, we also need to have compassion to our own inner children. So I exercised that same compassion to myself, and I parented myself out of it and got to a better place. In terms of yelling, yelling is so easy. Yelling is really just lack of other tools, burnout, exhaustion. You put that together and you're going to yell. So, we have to understand that, part of our reactions come from our conditioning. So if our conditioning is priming us to just raise our voice and yell, we have to unlearn that now. We have to undo that. So that takes practice. So the first, next time you yell, you tell yourself, okay, instead of yelling for 10 minutes, I'm going to yell for 5 minutes. And then the next time you're like, okay, I'm going to yell for 1 minute and I'm going to catch myself. And how do I catch myself? I, have a rubber band, or I count to 5, or I breathe, or I walk outside. And I give myself cues not to not yell, but to yell differently, to yell less. And then I journal. Journaling is a great way to reflect in the heat of the moment so that you can catch yourself. And then you reach out for help to a coach, a yelling coach. I have so many coaches in my institute. And you create a program with her to go 5 days no yelling, 7 days no yelling. It's like detoxing yourself. You have to learn a whole new way.
Yeah, so beautiful. And yes, awareness is step number one, as it always is.
Yes.
And then we layer on the different tools. I would love to switch gears a little bit to business, because this podcast is Strategy Soul, as I mentioned before. So you own a globally recognized brand. You've been praised by Oprah as revolutionary. So as an entrepreneur, how do you personally stay grounded with all this visibility, all these opportunities, and the impact that you really have today?
It's easy to stay grounded because when you are clear about your mission, then it's not about you, right? It's about the message. So if you keep that front and center, it's easy. It's not about me, so there's nothing to get all excited about. If people tell me, "Oh, Dr. Shefali, you've changed my life," it's nothing to do with me. It's the message has changed their life. I'm just the vehicle. So I really don't get caught up, or I don't think I've ever, if anything, I still think of myself as lesser than what impact I could have. I'm always surprised when people show up for a conference. I'm always surprised when people sign up for a workshop. I'm like, wow, okay. So I'm on the other side, actually, of not really having a big head about it. But the other thing is that, you have to understand at the end of the day, nothing matters, right? So if you keep that big perspective, big mind, that all of this, if it's not bringing you joy, if it's not giving you satisfaction, if it's not paying your bills, if it's making you miserable, then it's not worth it. Like, it's not worth it. So I always have that question of the why. Why am I doing this? It has to make sense. It has to be in alignment. It has to be worth it. I'm not going to chase a few $1,000s for no reason. It has to be worth it. And then I'll do something for free if it's worth it. I'm doing this with you for no cost, of course, because it's worth it. So I weigh every invitation, every email. I consider it. I do my research. Is this aligned? Is this going to give me joy? Is this purposeful for my mission? And if the answer is yes, 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 then I'll do it. It's just simple. I have some yardsticks and they have to meet the criteria. If they don't meet the criteria, I discard it. I delete it from my email.
Yeah, so beautiful. So, do you see the business successes in your life as the result of like an intentional manifestation? Was it something, that you had on a vision board next to Oprah? Or is it just something that unfolded? We talk about synchronicities in life that are just part of the path. Like, do you have a manifestation process, visualization process in your business and your brand?
Well, what I have is really an embodiment process, meaning I need to feel it in my body, and my body knows what to do. Now, it doesn't mean I don't use my mind. My mind is highly attuned to what the market needs, what I need to do in order to strategize. So it's this body-mind kind of balance that brings me wisdom. And no, I did not have Oprah on my vision board as much as as much as I had a kind of certainty, actually, that I absolutely will meet her. It wasn't even like
Wow.
it was like a certainty. So it was not even needing to be on the vision board. I was just marching toward her and marching towards other people. But I don't have it with a lot of people. So I only will have it for a few people. And I think I've already finished my people. Like I've
I
already,
was going to say, how's your list?
it's good. It's good. I don't need anybody else. Once you have Oprah, you're like good. You're like, okay, no
Right?
more.
It's Oprah.
Yeah. But what I really have is a clarity of, again, that purpose, that mission, that vision of what is my role here in this life. And it is to spread consciousness. And if I do it through relationships, or I do it through sons or daughters, or body, it doesn't matter. It's, am I on
Yeah.
the right track? And as long as I stay close to that, I will be okay. So it's very easy for me to manifest because it's all part of the same ocean of wisdom
Yeah.
consciousness.
Yeah. And you speak a lot about the feeling, which is the embodiment. And so for you, when you were starting out this work, was that vision as big as it is today? Like, did you start with the overall vision as enormous and global as it is today, or was it smaller at the start?
No, 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 no. It's very small. It's very much, how do I get out of bed? What do I do next? How do I manage to put my daughter to sleep and then do a chapter? It's very small. It's what
Wow.
is showing up for me now. Oh, it's a phone call. Oh, it's write a chapter. Oh, it's contact this person. Oh, it's read a book. It should never be, even today it's not big. It just looks bigger, but it's still very much
Yeah.
book by book, chapter by chapter, workshop by workshop, day by day. And
Wow.
I really, as much as I plan 1 or 2 years in advance, there's a lot of room for what shows up in the moment.
Yeah. The beautiful synchronicities waiting
Yes.
for you. So, your coaching institute, which you've mentioned before, so enrollment is open right now, cohort 13, which is incredible. So, your Conscious Coaching Institute. So, for entrepreneurs and conscious leaders tuning in, how could this certification support their own life in parenting themselves, but also the business that they currently run?
You know, nowhere in our schooling or college did we have a self development training program. Nowhere did we have a parent training program. This is both those in one. And you get certified to help others, and you get two certificates, a conscious life coaching certificate and a conscious parent coaching certificate. But it is parent training on steroids. So if you want to be a good parent, a parent, better connection with your child, learn how to master your emotions, this is the program for you. If you want to master your mind and manifestation and your purpose, it's got that component as well. And I combine Eastern spirituality with Western psychology to give this real holistic program. It's very hands on, very interactive. You see me coaching people, and you transform first. It's divided into kind of two waves. The first wave is your self transformation, your growth as a parent. So no matter what, you're going to win. And then it's how do you do this out in the world and earn a living. So anybody who is doing coaching or running a business and wants to add an extra dimension of self growth and Eastern
Yeah.
spirituality, Western psychology, every human is a parent of their own inner child. So if you're working with people, you need to learn how to teach them to parent themselves and learn how
Yeah.
to parent yourself. And that's what my institute does. It's 5 months, it's online. There's a 2 week money back guarantee, so there's no risk. And you need no prior experience except a passion. And I will teach
Yeah.
you everything. I've literally taken 12 years of a PhD, 3 masters, and I've condensed it distilled it into what you need to know and how to start working right away with yourself, with your husband, with your wife, your parenting. First, we begin there. So if you want a
Yeah.
master's degree in how to be the most evolved parent and the most evolved human, that's what this institute gives you. And
Wow.
it's
So
twice a
powerful.
year, so it's constantly, it's rotating. So you can play this
Yeah.
interview every year and keep rotating. It's happening all the time.
Yeah. And evolving. So, It's definitely for someone who already owns a business. This is a beautiful layer that could be tagged onto an existing brand. And also for anyone who's looking for a career shift or looking to move into entrepreneurship. There's so many possibilities, but I think if this is something that's calling you, if this episode is resonating, then definitely check it out. We have the link to the certification program in the show notes. Make sure to check it out. And of course, if there's questions, those can be answered by your team. But it seems like a beautiful opportunity. And also from a business standpoint, a unique differentiator, because we're always looking for, how can we add more value? And if you have this under your belt, it is a huge and deep and profound layer that you're bringing not only to your own life and your own nucleus, your family, your partnerships, your children, but also to the clients that you serve. Because at the end of the day, you're coaching for transformation.
And anyway, I believe you cannot really manifest your highest potential unless you know about your inner blocks and understand your patterns. And how do you work with people if you don't understand their patterns? So this gives you that unique edge of really being a master of your own inner blocks and slashing those blocks so that you can liberate yourself to manifest the highest amount of wealth, the highest amount of success in your life. The thing that stops people is not intelligence, is not even laziness or lack of motivation. It is their inner psychology. And this program breaks down your inner psychology so clearly that you literally unfurl and unlearn and undo all the toxic habits that you don't even know are sabotaging your growth. And this program illuminates it, and you slash it one demon at a time. And when you leave the program, you're ready to launch into your business with an empowered sense of creativity and potential.
Wow. So powerful, because this is the thing with subconscious programming is oftentimes we just don't know what the program is running behind the scenes. And so we need the support to move through it if this is your life's work. What are so 13 cohorts, what are some results you've seen maybe of, one of your students that has gone through the program and has gone on to work with others?
Well, first, I have seen people save their relationship with their children and rescue it and transcend it. I have seen children who were suicidal now have the best relationship with their children. I have seen children who were weak and insecure and disempowered just flourish. And that's the greatest reward, right? And then I've seen marriages transform. Either some of them have gone through empowered divorces in the most conscious way, or some have turned a corner and become more powerful as a unit. And then I see people, develop a career. Some of them, I had a veterinarian who became a better veterinarian. I had a surgeon who became a better surgeon. So it's not that everyone just becomes a coach. They become better at what they do because they learn how to coach themselves. But many of them have successful practices, and they love it because they wake up every morning, like I do, with a mission to serve, with a mission to make a difference in the world. And I can't think of anything more gratifying than this.
Yeah. I agree. Thank you so much for your heart. Is there anything that I've missed that you'd love to add to this conversation? Then I have 3 final questions for you.
Yeah, so if people don't want to do the Coaching Institute, which is an investment, they can just join my Conscious community, which is very reasonable for 6 months. It's $16 a month. It's super reasonable. But here's what you get. You get all my courses. You get 24/7 coaching support. You get workshops every month. At least join a community where you can grow together. And my community is amazing. So at least people can explore that on my website.
Yes, I love that. Beautiful. And your website is drshefali.com.
Yes, drshefali.com.
Amazing. Okay, so final 3 questions. Your future self. So your future self, Dr. Shefali, 20 years from today, what message is she sharing with you right now?
Just keep going. You're on the right track. Enjoy your life slowly and deliciously, and savor every moment.
So good. So your legacy as a parent, what is one truth you hope your daughter carries in her heart simply because of the way that she saw you live each and every single day?
That life is an adventure, it's never predictable, and there is no such thing as a failure or a mistake.
Yeah. And what is your definition of prosperity?
Prosperity is really working on your inner blocks and having the intellectual and psychological maturity to undo your toxic patterns. That is the greatest abundance.
Yeah, beautiful. Dr. Shefali, thank you so much for, again, your time, your heart, and your mission in this world. I'm so grateful to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining me on today's episode of the Prosperity Playground podcast. If this convo sparked something in you, be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts so you never miss your weekly activation. If you enjoyed the conversation, please rate and review. Your feedback helps us reach more souls just like you who are ready to calibrate to their most prosperous life. Know someone who needs this frequency boost? Share the episode to Instagram and tag me @_Anna Lozano so we can grow our energetically aligned community together. And please remember, true prosperity is about alignment, freedom, expansion, and embodying your worth today. See you on the next activation.